find ourselves in a flux between the Zman, Ben Zmanim, on the verge, after Yom Kippur Katan, before Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and there's always a pull for something that brings you back to the old school. There's stories told about Rabbanim who used to change positions with their wagon drivers, and many times I think that people think that a rabbi's position carries with it some kind of kavod, and all these perfunctory things that the rabbi has to do really just go very smoothly. So I'd like to share with you an incident that happened with me that caused me a little bit of difficulty. For about a week I was researching it, and I think it's worthwhile to have an idea, an insight into what really happens and what seems like very simple. Really, under the surface, there could be a lot going on. I was once at a wedding. This is just beforehand an introduction. I was once at a wedding, and a friend of mine was Masada Kedushin, and I was one of the Eidim. And he commented to me that this is called an Olam Hafuch. This is a backwards world, because in reality, you're the Eid, you are the one that's making Kedushin. You're the one who's really been misader the Kedushin, and I am only an Eid. I'm only helping out to make sure everything goes right. So the Masada Kedushin is the Eid, and the Eid is the Masada Kedushin, and the kavod and the reality of what's going on sometimes is exactly the opposite of what seems to meet the eye. I was an Eid at a wedding, and the service seemed to have gone more or less okay, but being that I was an Eid, I had no choice but to watch exactly what was going on, and I was very concerned. Normally what happens is, I'm sure many of you remember that time, put the ring on the lady's finger, and they say Mikudeshes, and we carry on. This situation, what happened was, the chassid put the ring on the finger, and then afterwards he said, and I stopped the Masada Kedushin, and I said, you have to say it first. It was clear to me that he wasn't so familiar with this exact halacha, and he was like squirming a little bit, and I said, no, you have to say it first, have her give back the ring, and it was a tense moment. Everybody's looking at the situation, and thank goodness that there's always a tekes. I said they're going to sing Im Eshkachech Yushalayim in just 3 seconds. When they're singing, we will redo the service and nobody will know. Okay? And that's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. We had her give him back the ring and make it clear she's giving it back. And he put the ring on her finger a second time. And I said, oh no. He forgot to say Harei Mikudeshusli the second time. He was relying on the ring. This is a true story. Okay? And I didn't know the Masada Kedushin. He didn't know me. And I was, what do I do now? What do I do now? And I thought about it, and I decided, I think it's okay. I'm not going to stop the service, and I'll go home and not sleep tonight and figure out exactly what's going on. So it took me about a week to come to be comfortable with the situation, and that is the subject which we're going to discuss, some of the aspects of this action that happened. Few subjects which have to be understood in order to know what's going on. Context is extremely important in halacha. A person says something, then it has meaning. Person's really annoyed, somebody said, don't take my Gemara, and he took your Gemara, and he said, I'm going to kill him. So what do you mean to say? You're annoyed, right? Somebody would cut and paste that statement, they could probably persecuted a person, for who knows what happened, right? There's context that things are said in. And sometimes there's context which is so strong that nothing even has to be said. It's self-understood what is being done. And I'll just use the example of the joke that I used to say when I was a bacher. There was a old lady who used to stand and collect money in front of Zichar Moshe, and somebody used to give her money every day when I was waiting to shul, and he used to say, Shaloi l'shem kedushin, right? I don't think anybody would think that the person who's doing that really is trying to even kaddish the lady, even though the people there. You just take a look at the picture, it's obvious. We all understand what's going on. Nothing to do with kedushin, but this guy wanted to be. And what really happened, one time he was talking to someone, gave them money, I said, now you're in trouble. Because now you didn't say it, who knows what really is going on. But at any rate, we all understand that what's going on gives a lot of understanding. Sometimes it makes things unnecessary to be said, and sometimes you have to say something to usurp it from the given understanding of what's going on. This aspect is called asukin ba'oiso inyan. When people are talking about something and they do something which follows the thought process of that which they were speaking about, so we understand what happened. He said, "Okay, I'm going to buy your pen for $3." And the person says, "Okay." Then you picked it up and walked away. What happened? He obviously bought the pen. Did anybody say this is right now when the king is happening? Maybe you're putting it away for him in his locker. The answer is that it's self-understood. So the question is really, who says you have to say anything that you're being makadosh to the isha? You just take a look around. It's quite obvious what's going on over here. So maybe you don't have to say anything anyways. Why is everybody so worried about the situation altogether? That's number one. The next question is, when you do it again, there's a question which maybe we'll discuss. The lady's giving it back. This is only like a trick. This is like a tekes. Does she really mean to give it back? Is she really giving it back to the fellow or not? And more important, does she have to give it back? Or can you just say it now? Another issue which we're going to discuss tonight is when I was about 11 or 12, they used to call it the tuning fork svara. Person takes a tuning fork and he knocks it on something and he listens and it's still vibrating. That knocking is long gone. How come it's still vibrating? The answer is that an action takes time until it settles down. This idea is called toch kedei dibur. There's an amount of time that a person, after he says something, in certain circumstances, he can undo what he said. I've been told that nowadays this is understood by anybody who's over 3 years old and under 60, that when you send an email, you can undo your email. I don't know for how long that is, but probably a touch day dibur. How long is it? Yeah? 10 seconds? That's longer than touch day dibur. Okay, whatever it is, but that idea, what is you did an action which is a finite action, but there's still some time that you can, I call before the cement dries, there's still some time to undo what you did in the realm of halacha. So, can a person, he gave the lady a ring, can he take it back and say, no, wrong person, go to the next lady? I don't know, you can take it back and do something else with the ring. Or once you gave it, it's over, and that's the end. This is an important idea that has to be understood. When can a person reverse that which he did? One more question, which we maybe we're going to touch on today, is, can she say, well, you gave it to me, you didn't say Kedushin, you obviously were just giving me a gift. And she can keep it, not give it back, and he wants to be Mekadosh, she has to give her another ring. These are the subjects which we're Mitzvah I'm going to deal with tonight, and come to some kind of a conclusion as to what the halacha is. So just again, I want to mention one idea, which is discussed a little bit over here. How important is it really to say Harayat Mikudeshesli? And this is, the halachas makes it clear that there are many situations, if you didn't say it, it doesn't work. And Ritz Hashem will start off with a fascinating Mishnah Brura in Hilchas Kriya Shema about this exact question. Okay. I'd like to start with a fascinating ha'ara that a friend of mine pointed out to me in a Mishmar in Hilchas Kriya Shema. The halacha is that one's allowed to say Kriya Shema in any language that he understands. So if somebody's in China, you can say Kriya Shema in Chinese. If you live in Eretz Yisrael, you cannot say Kriya Shema in Chinese. What about if you're a Chinaman that lives in Eretz Yisrael? Can you say Kriya Shema in Chinese? That is the question the Mishmar is discussing. Again, you have an Israeli who lives in Ramat Beit Shemesh. Can you speak in English? No, can you speak in English? What is the halacha if a person finds himself in a foreign country, an Israeli finds himself in, an American finds himself in Spain, and he wants to be Mekadesh and Isha in English, and the only people that he brought to the wedding are all his American friends, and he wants them to understand what he's saying, so therefore he says Harei Mikudeshes Li B'Tavasu Kedas Moshe Yisrael in English. Does it work or not? So the Mishnah says that when in Spain, if you daven out of your English siddur, you're not Yaitza Kriya Shema. Says the Mishnah, what's my raya? My raya is from a Gemara in Kedushin Daf Vav. The Gemara in Kedushin Daf Vav says as follows. I'll just read the Mishnah. The people in Spain can't speak English. Maybe English is different the world over. We're not really discussing that aspect. Okay. It's not called you speaking any language. The Bishlam Lashon HaKodesh, that's a Lashon Etzem. Mashenke Shaloshin Ela Mitzad Heskem HaMedina, and since V'kivan She'en Anshe HaMedina Zu Makirim B'Lashon Zeh, Lo Nikra Lashon Klal. That means somebody who speaks French in the United States, and he says Harei Mikudeshes Li in French, it doesn't work. V'Raylet Dvarai, how do I know that this is true? The Gemara in Kedushin says Ha'omer Charufasi B'Yehuda Mikudeshes. If you use the word Charufasi when he lives in Yehuda, it works. Why? She came B'Yehuda Karin Larusa Charufa. That is the vernacular, how you say a Isha Mureset. Aval B'Shari B'Kum, when it says Mikudeshes, the halacha says you're not Mikudeshes. Why? Because it's not a Lashon over there. V'av sheshneim kivnu l'shem Kedushin, v'Kedushinu b'chol Lashon, even though the husband and the wife, they thought they had in mind Kedushin, and everybody understood what's going on, it doesn't work. Ki'ilu nosan kesef v'loy omar klal, the Eidam HaKodeshet. It's as if there was no dibur at all. Obviously, they knew what they were saying. It should be at least al iske gittin b'kedushin. We learned the Gemara that says that if you daven al iske gittin b'kedushin, we know what's going on. She's wearing a white gown. Everything is going for us over here. So why shouldn't it work? So here the Mishnah Bura paskins that kedushin doesn't work unless you say Harei Mikudeshes Li in a viable lashon. Okay, start with Mishnah Bura. That's everybody knows Hilchos Kriya Shema. The Meiser Baruch Ber, he writes Shem Reb Chaim that Kedushin has a special halacha of a dibur. Normally one has to have, just people have to speak in order to know what's going on, just like we discussed before. Other things that are going on could create the reality that we understand what's going on. In a regular kinyan, that's the purpose of a dibur, to know what's going on. Whereas in Kedushin, we need more than that. You actually have a special din that a dibur must be said. So if that's true, so Baruch asks, so how could Asukim Bois Inyan work? And he says that you can have certain things that can come in place of the dibur. But they're working as if you said it. But when you want to be Mekadosh with dibur, those other props become muted, and it becomes a Kedushin without a dibur, and it doesn't work. This is the opinion of Baruch Ber, Teres Gittin, and many Achronim. That's like an introduction. So we have to understand that putting the ring on the finger and everybody knowing what you want to do, who cares? It's no worse than Charufasi in Golol. And everybody knows what's going on. The Eidim, the people, that's not a Sprach, that's not called a Lashon. And if you have no Lashon, seemingly you have no Lashon. So here's where my problem started. These people were planning to be Mekadosh with Dibur. There was no Dibur. So even L'chayra, though you have seemingly a case of Sukkim B'Yis Inyan, possibly doesn't work. That's not the final statement, but this is what exasperates the pressure under the chuppah.
Rabbi? Yeah, he did say Arim Kadeshiously, right? Could that work for the second time you put it on the finger?
Oh, we'll see. Oh, you know what? We'll deal with the question which you asked as follows. The halacha says as follows. Afilu nasal v'shtika v'lo dibur klum hu v'hi v'omer sheneskavel l'shen kedushin. If everybody agrees, they had in mind the shem kedushin. All right, v'makol glavi kedushin. Afilu echozer v'achagach v'omer hareya b'kodeshesli. Like this case over here, they said it afterwards. Tzarech lachzor v'litol hakesef mimeno v'litno lo b'taretz kedushin. You have to do a nunesina.
And not a no mirror.
No. So now the question is, we're going to get to that. But here we have, first we have to have this nunesina, and we're going to have to explain why they have to have the nunesina, and then we'll find out if the amira from beforehand helps or not. Could I say Arem Kadeshesli when there's nothing here or not? How long could I say it yesterday and give her something today? Does it have to be within certain kind of a time frame in order for it to work? Okay? We had Imesh Kochech over here going on. Let's not forget, that was what actually happened at this chasana, right? Well, their Shachech was not only Yerushalayim, they also forget to say the right thing. At any rate, this is a step number one. All right. What does Asukim B'Yis Inyan mean? This is not my ha'ara, but it's amazing why you have to learn every single word in Shulchan Aruch. Now, somebody who learned the Gemara, these words in Shulchan Aruch are not so amazing. The Aruch HaShulchan says, a white dress, 4 poles. Show this to a 3-year-old and say what's going on. It says chasana. Chasana. So, it's a Sukkim B'Yis Inyan. Who was a Sukkim B'Yis Inyan? The last time the Chassan spoke to the Kala was a week ago. The last thing he did was bury her under a veil. Where is the Sukkim B'Yis Inyan? I want to read to you Allah and Shulchan Aruch. This is important for those who read. So many pages over here. V'im hayu medaber ima b'tchila aliskei git the kedushin V'nosala afilu b'shtika chav zayin aleph havi kiddushin. V'hu she'adayin asukin b'oiso inyan. They still are carrying on discussing that issue. Now skip to the Ramah. The Ramah at the end says, Hago, v'yesh omrim, Deloi be'inon medabrim ba'oisa inyan mamish, ela medabrim me'inyan le'inyan ba'oisa inyan, v'hainu she'enu medabrim b'kedusha rak b'tzach is yugo. As long as they're talking about setting up house, they didn't discuss actually the marriage. V'yesh omrim, a new statement, Deloi be'inon medabrim imo, ela afilu she'medabrim lifonel asagi. External asukim boisa inyans also work. In other words, even though they didn't say anything to everybody else, but hamatzav mechayev, that's what's going on. According to the Ramah, there's a yesh omrim that says that that's enough for asukim boisa inyan. According to the Mechaber, it seems that that's not good. It has to be they are talking about Gittin the Kedushin. Are they talking about Gittin the Kedushin? At chasnas that I go to, the chassan and kala never talk about Gittin Kedushin. They're not talking about it at all. Everything is understood. So this is the world of pantomimes, right? But not about what they said, what other people are doing. And this also could be a machlokas achronim in the most obvious of cases. Not only that you said something that everybody understood, that's not enough to have a dibur. Even when you say asukah b'yisayim, which is something which everybody understands, could very well be if the chassan or kal is a Sephardi, it doesn't work. Why? Because they are not medaber al iskei gittin kedusha. It has to be the balei davar that they are the ones that are discussing this idea. So fascinating Ramah, which most people just like read it over, they don't really pay much attention, but it's rather important. Okay. Now, the halacha is as follows. Someplace over here on the page. If he gives her the money and she takes it, he doesn't say anything. And then he says, Aret Mekudeshesli, later on, it's called Shtika Lachar Matan Mois. The money's already in her hand. So that doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because she has the money, as I mentioned before in the introductory. She has the money, somebody comes over and gives me something. We don't know anything about Asukah Moisinian. Someone says, here, this is for you. And then you say, Hariyat Mekudeshesli. I already accepted it, it's already mine. And that's the end of it. So I don't have to address and deny, I do not want to marry this person. This is mine, you want to marry me, you have to give me something. So now, when the chassan over here, after he put the ring on the finger, he says, Hariyat Mekudeshesli. Whose ring is that? Hers. He's the one who has to give her a ring. So l'chayra, we're back to the situation that doesn't help. That evidence doesn't help. So we have to have, as we said. So I told the Masada Kedusha, give back the ring. Give back the ring. We'll try it again. Why? Because we want to have that there should be an Amira before the Nesina, which, as I said, that now unfortunately is not what happened. But that was the plan. I mean, the secondary plan. But whatever, that was what we're trying to do the second time around. Lamaisa, we have over here, I'm going to read number 5. Venira, im noson lo stam, if he gave it to her without stating anything, umiyad kedei dibor, omrla hareyat mikudeshes, you're even toich kedei dibor, lo yaminu mazet toich kedei dibor kedibor dami, it doesn't help, The nasalo l'shem matana eno yochel achzer boy. Once you gave it for matana, it's non-refundable. The loy matzino b'shum makom b'mecher oy nasal l'chavero v'kana b'meshicha oy b'kinyan sheyochel achzer boy. You made a deal, a done deal. This is instant cement. Right away, it happened. No touch kedei dibur. It's good in the darim. It's good in certain things, but it doesn't work over here at all. V'adarabah mitzila gabe hegdish, that you can't go back. U'masha v'hedye, that's an halach. So here we have, and this is actually the Knesset HaGedolah writes Mefurish. Be careful. Finish saying what you have to say before you put the ring on her finger. This I heard from many people. This is written of Shlomo Zalman. Used to hold the chassid's hand and make sure he doesn't go anywhere until he finishes saying it, and then he puts it on. Because of this hamakna, which is very serious, says that it's not going to help. This is the setup of the problem. So we have over here a shayla. I would like to introduce, and some of these thoughts are based on what the Achonim say. Just want to make it short, so you get an understanding. I don't think what the Hamakna says is relevant to our situation at all. And this is based on what the Achonim say to a certain extent. When we're going to say that Asukin Ba'isa Inyan doesn't help when you're going to have a need for an Amir and Kedushin, that's fine. Kedushin didn't happen. So what did happen? What did happen? Nothing happened. Whose ring is that? It's his ring. If she says, go to Bezdin, Bezdin says, no, Kedushin didn't happen. She said, well, I want to keep the ring. Will Bezdin say you're not allowed to keep the ring because he obviously gave it to you for getting the Kedushin? Of course. Asuka Moisa Inyan may not help when you need a Tibur, but we all know what was going on. She can't say, no, he meant to give it for me as a present. We understand you're standing under the chuppah, your invitation sent out, we paid a caterer not to give you a $100 ring. That's obvious. So whose ring is it? It's his ring. It's his ring. So what does it have to do, bichlal, with the subject we were discussing? So this question really is asked by the Taz. Okay? This question is an age-old question. And the answer to the question is, that could very well be that it's not a matana, it's not a halva, but she also has no achrayas on it, and therefore it becomes a question that is missing an act of kedushin, of giving. Besides for the halacha of the amira, he has to actually give her something, and this is a discussion which there is in the achrayim. But here we have, I guess, in short, very possibly, according to many achrayim, the Beis Shmuel goes with this mahalach, that being that it was done for this purpose, so therefore it has nothing to do with the question of the afla that there's a matana or anything over here. We're not retracting anything that happened. I went to your store and I said, here's $50. Do you have apples? I said, yeah, here's a bag of apples. And the man gives me a bag of apples. I gave him $50. Now I look inside and it's oranges. So you say, no, you can't back out because it's a deal? That's not what we made up very specifically what's supposed to happen. That's not what happened. So we don't have to reverse the transaction. The transaction never happened. Here by Asuka Mois Inyan, it's clear that the Nesina was for Kedushin. If you tell me the Kedushin is not Chal, so there was no Matana, there was no Halva, there was no anything. There was no anything, so here we have some wiggle room, according to many Achroinim, to say that it works. That's one. Okay. Number two, and that's an important thing. Lamaisa, halacha lamaisa, the Ksav Sofer says, V'chein nir ali, at the end where it's in bold, Lavi es daiti, l'chazim ma'ima debar, she'ein nizharim b'zeh. People are not careful about this hafla to make sure that it's said at the right time. Now, this idea is accepted more or less according to many poskim. However, I would just want to add on to the question which Mr. Beer asked, which is a very important question. Can you use the Amira beforehand or not? So the poskim also are very makbid that the Dibur and the Amira should really be Terkidei Dibur. The Dibur and the Nesina should be Terkidei Dibur. Why? Because we have to know what you're saying, what you're doing, and if you're going to have more than that. So when I had to fight with this Masada Kedushin over here, I lost my time span, right? And let's say it's 3 seconds, just till he understood what I was talking about, and figured, well, when are we going to do all this? We already were well over Terkidei Dibur, right? So, but here we have, so that Amira, which was said beforehand, the Chayra doesn't help anymore. We already lost it.
Which the Amir was said after giving the ring, not before.
He after gave the ring.
Right.
What happened again? He gave the ring.
And then he said,
The Chassan said, and then I said, do it over. And they did the Nesina over, and they didn't do over the Amira. There was one Amira, 2 Nesinas. Right? That's what happened.
The second said was longer than top they give.
Until I told him, you have to do it over. And he said, what? Why? You know, and I don't think he told today. I don't think the fellow really understands why we had to do this over. But whatever. And the bottom line is that we well missed our connection between in the Terkidei Dibur. So I'd like to say 2 things.
So was he married?
Is he? Well, I say was he? Is he married?
Well, if the Ksav Sofer, you said he is married.
According to Zachariash says the minig is that he's married. The minig is that he's married. Okay? I was even at a show of brachas, if I'm not mistaken. And anyways, the bottom line over here is I would like to say chidush. That which asukim ba'iso inyan does or doesn't work, according to some achrayim which I found, it helps to patch up the Terkidei Dibur. When you're still trying to work it out, so then it's all into the negotiations of trying to get this deal done. It extends itself. There's a machlokes achrayim, chasam sefer, and Avraham, whether one can extend the Terkidei Dibur by having an asukim ba'iso inyan. So even if it's not whatever, that's number 1. Number 2, that you need Terkidei Dibur, that's really the amount of time necessary, is not to me 100% clear the source. And normally you need to have things that happen straight. I asked the question, whose ring is it? That question is not a good question. That's only a good question when you have to be Mekadesh with that ring. He has money in his pocket, he has other possessions, he doesn't have to reacquire it. There's nothing that's mafsik be'etzem to a nunesina. He could give the kala as yamaka, gamarnu. That also works. So if it would have to be done with the ring, and he would have to acquire it, so it could very well be that there would be a break between the old Nesina and the new Nesina. But being that he could do something else, possibly that's also enough. The fact that there are sukim bois inyan to it. But halacha l'maisa, the Aruch HaShulchan, he says that the minig is to be meko, and there are those who are very meko. Halacha l'maisa, just, I know it's asked this, so what do you do? Halacha l'maisa, how do you make a decision? I'd like to say the following. Definitely, there are achrayim to be semchan. What is my position? Who am I in this story? If the Masada Kedusha comes to the conclusion that he wants to be Mako, and there are ample places that say you're allowed to be Mako, not necessarily is it in my position, do I have to straighten the guy out or not? Okay, L'maisa, halacha l'maisa, it seems that the minig ha'olam was to be Mako, and I checked it over, I spoke to other Rabbanim about this, what is exactly the minig, but once it is a case, just another issue, when somebody does something, and even though may have done it right, may have done it wrong, yesh al milismoich, then there comes out a serious question, such as, do you make over birchas nesuim? what do you do? If nothing happened, so then nothing happened. You can't have chuppah before kedushin, right? So sometimes we're forced into a situation where it's b'diavad. Now b'diavad vadai, for many other reasons, we say that they're married. But this is a question. Just the point of this shir is that it seems like such a minor thing. You do it this way, you do it that way. How could it make so much of a difference? And you see that there's a very big split amongst the poskim, halacha l'maisa, what to do. Halacha l'maisa, they should live. Admei v'esrim, Doris, Yisharim, Baruchim, give us all nachas. Already we're mezaki the tzibur with limud HaTorah.
Yet another